it's possible to run faster up there, but I think the roll Echo of the Elements is the most likely solution at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. I really wouldn't want to see another Crash Lightning here. Curse Hollow is not even a great map for it. It's usually not really going into those skirmishes for too long. But as it is, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find out who's going to either walk away with a victory in this series if TheOne takes it, or we're going to find out if RPG manages to tie and draw it out 1-1. For first, though, it's TheOne here on the left-hand side with Hugo on the Thrall. We see Mogul on that Hanzo. Meng is playing on Falstad. Hihi on the Muradin as per usual. And ZJZ on the Malfurion.
And on the right-hand side, it is RPG, with Chicken on the Haka, MJ on the Alexstrasza, Sa on the Phoenix, C on Diablo, and Loktar brings out the Jaina.
Alright, Loktar is branching out a little bit, and that's basically what we wanted him to do, so we could get a better impression of his abilities and techniques to see whether he is still... Well, he still has what it takes, let's put it this way, although that sounds a little mean because he's always had it. Even after a 1-year absence, he's still tearing things apart.
This is true. It's true indeed, which has always been entertaining to see. As Chicken remains stealthy. No longer, he's hit by an arrow and is forced to retreat immediately.
Mogul just hit him with an arrow there, very gently. Luckily, that one didn't go to the knee of Dehaka. And Chicken remains quite healthy here in that lane for now, but he's been calling out for those reinforcements. ZJC just barely not getting the vision onto Diablo, but I'm not even sure if Z expected someone to be in that bush over there, so the reaction was a little bit slow there, and now he has arrived, the feisty dwarf trying to turn things around. But both teams walk away after this short encounter.
The perfect storm coming in for the Muradin. Once again, no stacks, get that damage out. Who knows, maybe we'll even see a sledgehammer to just push in the lanes and end the game, but that is quite unlikely. As Alexstrasza rotates down to help out C, MJ with some good heals. He, once again, very far forward, is just going to try and get bullied by Diablo. He's super outnumbered on the enemy side of the map, and they're doing nothing about it because they know it's Muradin.
Exactly, and Muradin goes where Muradin pleases for the most part, unless you have a lot of CC and a lot of damage available to punish him early on. As such, his mobility is just too superior, and the stun as well, of course, the Stormbolt keeping pursuers at bay. It's just really why Muradin is this menace. I'm actually having this theory of why Muradin is suddenly back in the meta and really a valued tank. I don't think it's actually the hero because he hasn't been changed in terms of stats and talents in a long time. It's more like the players actually have figured out how to play him to maximum efficiency, right? To really stall and slow down rotations from the enemy team by just waiting in the bush, trying to bait plays onto you. So I think it's really nice to see how the Muradin play has evolved over the last few months and years.
I would agree. It is nice to see that. I mean, some players still like to over-aggro it a little bit, but overall it's just become a significant amount more impressive. So, good for us. Good for us for getting to witness it. Hooray! We're the real winners here. As we start to see the first tribute spawning up in the top lane, Hugo needing a couple hits, seemingly unnecessarily from Phoenix, but he's fine.
Yeah, he's going to be fine for now, just like the mid lane here, although TheOne lost one tower. The mercenaries and the combined effort of Malfurion and Hanzo are going to clean up the onslaught here, and already this looks like a promising position, promising location for that first tribute in terms of RPG. You know, placing up there, posturing up. Sa needs to be careful. As much as that Muradin looked like a juicy target, one CC combo by him and the Malfurion, and he could be taking a lot of damage.
C zones for MJ, and the tribute is taken. The Sonic Arrow a little bit too slow.
Yep.
Nicely done by RPG. They grab the first tribute of the game, and C even stays up here for a little bit to help Sa clear the lane.
And this is exactly the kind of opening RPG wanted to go for, right? They didn't fall victim to any ganks. They didn't really feed early on. They took the first tribute as well, giving them more time to stabilize should they fall behind. So yeah, really good start. Not really succumbing to the power of TheOne up to this point. But TheOne, on the other hand, they're also playing very patiently and calm themselves, right? They're not really going for these crazy engages just yet that they're so well known for. Instead, they play it slowly and methodically, trying to support the mercenaries and trying to get a tower after the other. In the meantime, hold that thought. Jaina ended up falling here. Loktar ambushed and ganked by two feisty dwarves at the same time.
He goes down. That is first blood acquired by the One. As such, they're going to be able to put some more pressure onto this top lane, as they know there's at least one less hero currently available to gank them. Diablo, though, says that he's worth 2 heroes and decides to try anyway, as Chicken also rotates, and ZJ said will go down. He has the dwarf toss over the wall, and this will be a counter kill going over to RPG.
Yeah, at a pretty good moment at that, because look at that. Jaina, who had fallen earlier, is already back in business. Look at those scatter shots, man. So much damage. And the Dragon Queen even being used, so they have enough sustain, enough healing power to force their way through this second tribute. Now, if the One is smart, they're just going to disengage. They have no support themselves. And it's not an immediate curse point anyway, so there's no way or no need for them to actually overextend. But strong showing, strong early game once again for RPG. They get the hee-hee. On top of that, the icing on the cake. He was interrupted during the dwarf toss. Beautifully done by the One.
Yeah, they pick up that kill with room to spare even. Now they're going to start doing their boss, but it's still 2 tributes to 0 in favor of RPG. They're not that far behind the XP. They're doing their own boss. They're mirroring the One right now. And the fact is, RPG, they might be able to come out with a curse during the next phase here. Tributes all the way down here, which means if it spawns soon, then the One might have a problem where they're going to be forced away from where the boss is, as they're global. It's currently a bit busy with the hacker.
It all depends on how many resources and how much attention the One is going to pay, you know, or going to invest into that top lane push, right? If RPG is playing this smart, they could even ignore this third tribute, because they're definitely going to be too late for it, right? And instead just push all the way to the top, and I think that's all they're basically going to do here.
Looks like the plan. There is a bit of a counter push, though. Bot Fork absolutely decimated.
Yeah.
Or I guess decimated is the wrong word. Absolutely destroyed. As we see the opponent, they
have to defend now.
In. They do. They're all on the way back. Locked This is a little bit of a counter siege potential. Chicken runs directly to the boss stun, but he burrows underneath it.
Good reaction there. Okay, so both teams going for a more, how should I say, structural play rather than committing to this tribute. I mean, it's good for the One that they received it. Otherwise, they would have been cursed. That's for sure. But both teams now have their level 10. Their heroic talents available, and we see no surprises on either side. It's going to be the Earthquake, the Falstead Mighty Gust. Okay, I'm digging it. And no Tranquility as well. That's probably worth highlighting, because China loves the Tranquility so much. Instead, they're going for the Twilight Dream to shut down some of the aggressive plays, potentially from a Dehaka, from a Diablo. Let's see how good it's going to be.
It's going to give them some opportunities for some counters. Let's see how well they're able to execute it. As C takes up position. Sonakara sees everything except Jaina, but she reveals herself by clearing the minion wave.
Ooh, this is going to be one of those Monka-esque moments, right? Where you need to go through that horseshoe choke point there if you're the invader. In that case, it is the One. But also for the defenders, for RPG, it's not going to be that easy to establish themselves a nice position, right? Because you don't have that much room to fight. And with that choke point here, heroes like Jaina, heroes like Hanzo, they all become very threatening and scary at the same time. Loktar getting pretty far forward.
Dragon Arrow and Gust comes out. The Gust just to interrupt this. In comes the Dragon Queen. Hugo is tanking through. ZJZ not so lucky. Let's get the Twilight Dream. The Twilight Dream onto Diablo. C now in trouble. He's tanking through his fire healing. It's too much now. Meng very separated from his team. He's just gonna fly to keep himself safe.
Oh, if I were MJ, I would have actually dropped a blind. What's it called? Flame buffet? Flame buffet? On the Dragon Queen to basically interrupt a false set just in case he had tried to fly away. But it's really hard to anticipate that.
That it is. You didn't know where it was.
Wing
didn't
buffet.
have,
there we go.
Might not have have had it. Is it wing or wind? I assume it's wing.
Yeah, I think it's wing, because she uses her wings to kick people back.
Wait, I guess you're buffeted by wind? I don't know. I'll look it up later.
I'm pretty sure chat knows.
Yep. They'll tell us, other than taking the mick out of you for saying buffet.
Now, if I've been in my university class from a few years ago, my professor would have probably said, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the proof that G and D are not a minimal pair. Are indeed a minimal pair in linguistics, because they make a difference in meaning. There we go.
It is apparently wing. Excellent. I stand corrected. Huh. Cool. Thanks, chat. As we head into this curse, we already see RPG trying to get some push potential. They've already taken down top and mid. This is the final remaining fort. they are just going to push that in. But several reinforcements have shown up as the tribute has expired. RPG play it safe. They back it up. Bot Fort survives, but very barely.
Alrighty, level 13 is just around the corner for RPG, and so far they've been doing a really admirable job of keeping TheOne in check. You know, they unleashed the first curse, they managed to get a couple of structures back, but still you can just see the high class, all the experience from TheOne, basically keeping even keeping a pretty significant lead in overall XP, with of course Falstead doing God's work in the top lane, just soaking so much experience in there. Now, the true interesting phase of the game is going to be relaunched when the two bosses are going to respawn. Now C, scouting out, he's the tank, he should face check if any of the members of RPG should do that. So 18 seconds, 17 seconds until the bottom boss comes back, and since both bosses were taken at roughly the same time, the top boss will also be back in a short period of time.
But who would want to go for all those bosses at the moment? Falstad is up, has Gust, and is currently in the center of the map, which means he's within fly distance of basically anywhere. He just has a Stormbolt, just getting stacks at this point. But they are not safe for RPG to go for a boss of their own. Same is said for TheOne though. The dive potential of Diablo onto these points is absolutely terrifying. So both teams, once again, need to set up kills, need to get full vision of the entire rest of the other team on the other side of the map to have any chance of wanting to take any kind of boss.
Great map awareness here, by the way, by RPG, figuring out, you know, why is he not defending with his team? If we can't see the bird, and he's probably hiding in that bush trying to flank us, because that's what players like Hehe like to do all the time. So there came a blind frostbolt into the bush, revealing Murden, and the danger was basically put at rest here for a moment. But now, this tribute is in a tricky location. There's a lot of walls for Diablo to get value from. They're actually trying to get Thrall here. Hugo in trouble, gets stunned against the wall, but manages to escape in the nick of time. Diablo was too far ahead of his teammates. They're actually losing the tribute because of this Tetra.
They are. Tribute is channeled away by Hanzo now, bringing it up to 2 in favor of TheOne. So they're going to be prepared for their first curse. There's only 1 fort for them to push against as well. So they might actually be able to get a fort lead for the first time.
Yeah, neither of the teams is actually able to get much done right now. They're basically just scouting one another out, thanks to good wave clear on both sides with Jaina and Hanzo, for example. With these waves, they can't even get that much value. Look at the lightning speed reflex here by C, immediately interrupting Murden before he gets any more damage done. The return lightning breath is here, and RPG is unleashed.
One-man salvo, a little bit of damage to Hehe, not that much achieved, but they got the fort, hooray! No less hooray! Dragon Arrow comes out and Jaina is deleted, and Twilight Reef is good too. And MJ is completely separated, he's turned around though, the isolation onto Meng is allowing MJ to do some serious damage. Down goes the Phoenix in the background as the cleansing focuses Meng, and Alex Straza gets a snipe kill there, but has to teleport far back as only Chicken is left alive.
Once again, I think MJ was a little late there on the reaction with that cleansing flame, because I could see that Phoenix die from a mile away, right? He was focused and surrounded by enemy heroes. I think if he had maybe used that cleansing flame a little earlier to keep him safe and sound, that team fight could have gone a little differently. But now as it is, 16 is here. TheOne, they're not going to ask twice about taking this boss. And of course, the curse. And this, ladies and gentlemen, Tetra, could be the beginning of a small... of a big disadvantage here for RPG. I think they might even lose a keep if they don't play this right.
I'm pretty sure Anastasia was silenced in the Twilight Dream, which is why she was a little bit slow
that's a
on
good point.
Cleansing flame.
That's a really good point.
We do see Hugo grabbing the curse for his team. So curse with a boss pushing into a lane with no fort in it. This looks like it might be a keep attempt from TheOne.
And depending on how many heroes, or if any heroes of RPG end up falling defending the keep, it might actually be a core call. And you know TheOne, right? Back in the days when they played a lot of Illidan, they went for the greediest and craziest of core calls. So I'm pretty sure they can do it maybe again. Here goes the defense. Hehe taking a lot of damage from Loktar on the Jaina. Can they do it though? The buildings are deactivated. No defense fire here from the keep onto the boss. That's stunning. The Phoenix actually double stun coming in, and no saving spell available unless the cleansing flame keeps him alive, but it does not. Misplay by Saw. No teleport to bring him out to safety.
Meng arrives via air. Falstad gets deleted and roasted, but everyone else is dead. So I guess the game now just ends. TheOne going to be able to kill off Alexstrasza for good measure. They go onto the core. Everyone is dead, so that is GG. Nice push by TheOne, taking a convincing fight. And that's going to be the 2-0 for them. They extend their lead at the top of the table.
But also, Tetra, a major blunder by Saw, getting caught like that as a Phoenix, who's supposed to be one of the more long-range pokers.